Hey guys, Mike here from Old Man Things, and welcome to the old Frog and Toad Pub Shed. I'm in the snug with me old mate, wee Hamish. And wee Hamish is a 1950s advertisement for Old Smugglers blended whiskey, blended Scotch whiskey. He's bloody old, he is, old Hamish. I've got my wee bonnet on. And this is a introduction to a new series I want to start called What I Wish I Knew Then About Single Malt. So I started my single malt journey about 4 years ago. And I have made a lot of mistakes. And because of making a lot of mistakes, I wasted a lot of money. Now, everything I say to you is my opinion, but this is what I've learned for my whiskey journey, my single malt journey. And probably for the last 2, maybe 3 years, I started to talk about single malts in my normal channel, Old Man Things. And I've had a lot of people ask me questions about single malt. You know, what's a good one what's a good beginner one? I've got some Deanston 12. And I'm gonna pour a wee dram, just a wee dram. I have my little Glencairn. And I try to answer them as best as I can, those questions. And I enjoy it that people ask those questions. So I thought I'd start a series, and I'll try to keep the episodes short, because I know the more you wrap it on and on and on, it starts to go right over your head. At least that's how it is for me. I'm having a cup of tea as well, so cheers, everyone. So I'll start where I wish somebody would have asked me this. What is your goal to your beginning of your single malt journey? Like, what do you want to accomplish from it? If you want to buy the most expensive bottle of single malt to show people, then I can't give you any advice, because for one thing, I can't afford the most expensive one, and secondly, I wouldn't do that. But if you want to grow in your knowledge, and you want to grow in your experience with quality single malts, then I'll do my absolute best to bring you along of the stuff I've learned in my journey for the past 4 years. And I'll try not to come across as a whiskey snob. And sometimes it's hard. And I'll give you an example. Because I have, as I said, I have spent a lot of money on a lot of crap. And I've spent a lot of time researching, figuring out, what is the best stuff to get, what not to get, why is this better than that, why shouldn't I get this? This is what everyone, this is what all the, advertisements in the whiskey magazine show these ones. When you go to any grocery store or liquor store, these are the ones that they usually have. And when you start to know these things and you start to learn and you start to see, you get a bit, upset, you get a bit worked up because you think to yourself, these guys are robbing us. They're hoping that you don't have the knowledge. They're hoping that you're buying this single malt because it's the single malt that you have heard of all this, for years and years. So they're taking advantage of you as a consumer. So I do get a bit snobbish, but I will do my best because I'm an average person. And I assume everybody watching me is an average person. I'm not going to do reviews. I'm not going to do a review on Deanston. There's enough people out there that are doing reviews on Deanston 12 and they're smelling crabgrass and lemon weed and cracked pineapple seeds. There's enough people out there. I'm not going to do that. It's like I smoke a pipe, but I don't do tobacco reviews because there's enough people doing that and they're better at it than I am. But what I can teach you is what's a quality single malt and what isn't. And the whole point of doing this series is as I learn, I hope to share with you. Because when you start watching guys take, they're on YouTube and they're all posh. And they have their knighthood. They've been knighted by the queen and now the king, and they swish their single malts and they throw it out like that, and then they refill it, and they say that's how you start with a single malt. Well, that's nonsense, and it puts you off because you're thinking to yourself, all right, I've just bought this bottle of single malt, and I know what I spent for it. There's no way in heck I'm gonna dump this out. Richard something, I believe his name is. If you know, you know. There's always show, and the single malts they're advertising for, and they're the head. The master, is it the master distiller, the master taster, or something like that? Their single malts are why they're throwing it out. Again, this is all my personal opinion. Everything I share is my opinion. And I know there's people that know so much more. I watch Ralphie. Ralphie has taught me so much. And there's a few guys out there that have taught me a lot. There's a few guys that have put me off of it, to be honest, and I'm glad I don't watch them. It's very nice. It's very nice. So, I encourage you guys, whether you're thinking about beginning a single malt journey while you're currently on a single malt journey, well, if you've been on a single malt journey and you've left it, you're considering to come back, or you don't know anything about single malt, to watch. And I also encourage you guys to ask questions in the comments below, because I don't know everything, and some of your questions, I might have the same questions, and it'll encourage me to learn, and I can come back to you. I think this will be a fun series, and my goal is to grow along with you guys. But the bottom line is, the reason I'm doing this is I wish I had somebody that was an average Joe that can't afford the best single malts, that can't taste the lemongrass and the spinach weed and all this other stuff, that would have shared their knowledge with me starting out, because it would have saved me a lot of time, and it would have saved me a lot of hassle. And that's my goal with this. So I know I've wrapped it on long enough. And old wee Hamish here, he's not saying much. He doesn't usually say much unless I really screw up, or if I've had too much. I usually don't get pished. That's our goal with single malt. Don't get pished, because it's too bloody expensive for one. That's what I always say. I don't get pished from single malt because I can't afford to get pished. But if ever I get pished, old Hamish here tells me so. Okay, guys. Thanks for watching. I hope you add some comments below. And the next episode, so this is just an introduction, but the next episode I will start sharing some of my knowledge, and it might not be in order. It might be something that I learned last week compared to something that I wish I knew starting off, and I'll try to do it in as much order as I can. So guys, thanks again for watching. Any questions, please feel free to ask, and I answer every question. And cheerio.